Hello, beautiful souls. This is Kanisha with Peace, Love, and Faith. This video was requested by a client of mine around what it really means for the divine feminine to truly be in her power and the characteristics of a divine feminine. Now, if you're a masculine, definitely still check out this video because this will let you know if your divine feminine is in a wounded space, in her masculine, or in her divinity. So let's go ahead and jump in. I'm going to share with you some characteristics and traits of being in your wounded, your masculine, then your divine feminine. So you want to stay all the way through. Before we get started, definitely like and subscribe. You can also check out more content on my YouTube or on my Instagram or TikTok. All right, let's go ahead with the wounded feminine. So the wounded feminine, these are some qualities and traits that the wounded feminine will be in. And the first one is low self-esteem. A wounded feminine is going to really be working from a place of insecurity, is going to be looking for validation and a lot of reassurance. This also will lead into people pleasing. And this is going to be a tendency of when you want to make sure everyone else is happy, but not putting yourself first, not paying attention and focusing on your own happiness. Then you also have a wounded feminine being easily attached. The wounded feminine will easily attach to those who give her attention and a validation and love because she's afraid that if she doesn't attach to it and clutch to it, that it's going to leave her, which ultimately is pointing at a abandonment wound. And a lot of feminines who are in this wounded area who have that abandonment wound will also have what we here society call an anxious attachment. Wounded feminines will also be very manipulative. They will try to manipulate things to where it works out in their favor. And this is because of the insecurity of not trusting how valuable they are, how divine they are, how worthy and enough they are to receive the things that they want. And then they will also ignore their intuition because they're not seeing their value and honoring themselves. And so when you find yourself ignoring your intuition, this lets you know that you're completely out of your feminine energy and you're trying to fix and change things on the outside. Wounded feminine will also work from a very victim mentality. Like, they did this to me, this is how they showed up, if only they would have treated me better, this would have never happened. That victim mentality will actually keep the wounded feminine from taking full responsibility of her reality and making that inner shift and changing her reality due to changing how she is perceiving things and receiving it. And also a wounded feminine will be afraid to speak up and speak her truth. She will stay quiet in order to keep the peace and also to not rock the boat, and ultimately, again, is not honoring or valuing herself or seeing her worth and knowing that it is safe for her to speak her needs. So that is a very wounded feminine energy. Now, what does it look like when the feminine tries to take on the masculine energy? Now, there's a misperception that the divine feminine has masculine energy and feminine energy in here, but the truth is that you, if you're the divine feminine, resonate as the divine feminine, you hold the feminine energy and your masculine holds the masculine energy, and together you come in as one union. So when you are in a masculine energy, it's because you're trying to take it on. And I found with my own twin flame union, when I try this, because my masculine is very secure in his masculinity, and or he's working in security in his masculinity, he will like physically kick me out of that space and really just kind of discipline me there and tell me like, that's not my space to be in, let him take care of it, I can relax. So being in that masculine energy as a feminine is going to look defensive, especially when someone calls you out or maybe triggers something within you. When you go into that defensive mode, automatically it's because you're trying to protect yourself. And when you are trying to protect yourself, it's like this energy of, let me become the man in order to feel safe and secure and protected. So you will tend to go into that masculine energy out of defensiveness. Another way of being in masculine energy is that you're cold and distrustful. Feminines who are in their feminine energy are very warm, and they're very aware that their trust lies within God, within source, within themselves. And they don't just go freely trust people. They know that there is trust that needs to be built in order for them to be vulnerable and open themselves up in that space. Being in a masculine energy as a feminine also means that you are working from an ego space. Ego is not real, it's an illusion. But when you believe that ego is real or that you can be hurt by ego, you will find that it's because you, again, are trying to protect yourself. This is ultimately why the feminines will go into a masculine energy. My ear is ringing as I say this, is ultimately out of protection. And so when they feel that they're unsafe or that they need to be taken care of or provided for, again, protected, they will go into a masculine energy because ultimately they're not trusting that God is going to show up and be the masculine that they need them to be, or that their own masculine is not going to show up. Also, masculine energy is taking the lead. Now, as a feminine, you absolutely can take the lead as a feminine, but you want to do it from a place of peace, a place of love. Now, taking the lead in a masculine energy is going to come from the energy of, if this does not get done, or if I don't do this, this is not going to get done. So it's now out of a space of control. So if you trying to take the lead is because you want something to change, you want something to shift, you want results, that is now from a place of control instead of just going with the flow and then taking the lead naturally. I've had this happen many times where I recognize that I will take the lead because I'm like, okay, if I don't do this, like, it's gonna blow up in my face or it's not gonna work out, blah, blah, blah. But when I am naturally meant to lead in this space, I've had masculines look to me and be like, it feels best that you lead here. And it's because they can feel that this is just a space where I will thrive. And it also feels natural for me to lead in that space. The divine feminine, when she's in a masculine energy, will also chase. So she will try to go get something or make something happen instead of sitting in her natural state of being and allowing things to come to her and to receive. In a masculine energy, she will also hide her emotions. And this means that, again, not feeling safe to express herself, which also will roll right into the people pleaser. And then the last two things is that in the masculine energy as a divine feminine, you will tend to pursue and compete. So again, you will try to do things outside of you. The divine feminine energy is a very inner self energy, like just really inner work, inner guidance, inner intuition. Everything is inwardly for the divine feminine. You will have guided action to do things on the outside and take action, but you receive that guidance within first. Masculine are very action oriented, providers, protectors. Their sense of being is very on the outside, but does not mean that they don't do their inner work. It is a little uncomfortable for them to go into that space unless they've really spent time mastering that and working on going within. There are a lot of divine masculines who are in a secure masculinity where they feel safe enough to go within and move through their feelings. And then last but not least, being in your divine feminine energy, what does that really look like? And that means that when you're in your natural divine feminine energy and it feels natural to you, it means you can relax, you can surrender, you can just be, you give off a very warm natured energy. You naturally attract people to you. Children and animals want to be in your space. I can't tell you how many times I'm very aware when I'm in my feminine energy and when I'm not in my feminine energy. Children will gravitate to me when I'm in my feminine energy and they just want to be in my space. And when I'm not, they're kind of just like, hi. And they'll keep their space until I heal it within, and then they naturally gravitate to me. So that warm nature. Divine feminines have empathy. They're very open to hearing someone else's side without being defensive. They're able to see that person's healing and perspective and really being open to just receiving ultimately and not taking things personally. Again, the divine feminine is nurturing. You get a very motherly feel from her, or like a very loving, protective sister. And then a divine feminine in her natural state of being is very vulnerable, very open to sharing herself, speaking up, speaking her needs, sharing aspects of herself that she has built trust with herself to be able to share. They are emotionally open. They're able to receive you as you are without judgment and without making you feel inferior. They're also very receptive. So again, very there you get a very attractive vibe from a divine feminine when she's in her divine feminine energy in her natural state of being. She is like the flower. She just naturally opens up and the bees come to the flower to get the nectar. And so the flower is not out chasing the bees or trying to get them to take her nectar. She is just there. She's just being, and naturally they come to her. And then the divine feminine is very kind, very soft, very approachable, very open to life in general, very open to abundance and allowing those to love her. A healed divine feminine will not disregard a compliment. And so if you find yourself being complimented and being like, oh, this old thing, or like, oh my gosh, I didn't even spend time on myself, or oh my gosh, I can't believe you think I look beautiful, that right there is a very wounded energy. So a divine feminine is able to truly receive, whether it's compliments, unconditional love, support, help in any type of way. A divine feminine in her natural state of being is able to receive all of those things. And also, last but not least, they are allowing and flowing. So they allow things to just unfold. They allow themselves to go with the flow instead of trying to control and make everything happen. They really allow themselves to completely surrender to God and allow God to lead them. And for me, I know that one of the things I've really worked on is surrendering myself to God and allow God to lead me, because if I don't allow God to lead me, how can I allow my husband, my twin flame, to lead me? And so I've really worked on surrendering all of my divine masculine energy to my masculine. I've also really learned, and this has shifted my union a lot with my divine masculine, is by going to God and depending on God as my divine masculine, as the man in my life, as my husband, as my source, instead of looking to a physical person for that. As I've done that, this has really filled those spaces where I felt lack, where I didn't feel the support of my divine counterpart, and really depended on God in this space and allowed God to be my source, allowed God to be everything that I needed God to be. And when you allow that, then God can really truly trust that you're able to receive him, and then he will move through your divine masculine. So the divine feminine is really surrendered to her healing. She's really surrendered to receiving the masculine instead of trying to fix him or change him. She's open to holding space for him. She's also very open to trusting that he is going to do his inner work and that he is going to pursue God in order to provide for their union. So it does require a lot of inner work. It does require a lot of surrender and ultimately having faith and trusting the process, trusting God, trusting yourself, trusting your divine masculine. And when you really allow yourself to relax into your body, relax into your healing, relax into life, you will see that life will start to really work out for you, because you're not trying to control or be in the struggle. You're just receiving and relaxing, and naturally all these great things are coming into your life because you're open. You're open to receiving love. You're open to receiving abundance. You're just open and just relaxed. So I hope this is helpful for you. If you need some more support in healing your divine feminine energy, definitely check out the link below for an individual coaching. This is one of my favorite topics. This is something I've deeply healed in many layers and many years. Y'all probably would not know, but growing up, I was a massive tomboy. I was very defensive. I was very protective. I grew up with I have 6 brothers. I have most of my friends growing up were guys, so I really felt more comfortable trying to mask and be in a masculine energy. But the more that I started my healing journey, the more that I naturally started to relax into my feminine energy. I started attracting more masculine men instead of men and their wounded feminine energy. And I really was able to start receiving even more in my abundance and my finances. And so if you would like some more support, definitely check out that link. But if you resonated with this, definitely put a heart down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you want or desire to request a certain topic for content, definitely put that below as well. Peace, love, and faith. I hope you guys have a beautiful night. I'll see you soon.